fresh out the oven.
What is cracking, everybody? It's megapiemanphd here, and welcome to another look at my map video. This time for Payload Midwest B68V8. That's right, it's a mouthful. Beta 68 version 8. Now, it's been a while since we have jumped into talking about this map, mostly because I just haven't had the time to do videos like this for a bit, but there's a lot to talk about now. So, let's get to it. Let's start with Blue Spawn. Something that I did with Blue Spawn is I wanted to try to make it a little bit more like Upward in the way that it works. The way Upward works is that you have Blue Spawn, and then they cap A, and instead of changing spawn, the spawn moves closer to the exits of Blue Spawn. And then when they capture B, they get a forward spawn. Now, I wanted to do something like that with Midwest. The problem I was having before is that the forward spawn after you capture A was actually a little bit too forward for B, and made it so that Blue could roll through B a little bit too easily. So I got rid of that one. There is no longer a forward spawn when you get A, but I wanted to do an upwardy thing here with this spawn, so I changed it around and have made it that the spawn gate doors are now a lot more forward than they used to be. The spawn gate door for over here used to be here, but now it is these two. And over here, it used to be this door frame, but now it is up here to these. And I changed a lot of inside of here, so now when you're attacking A, you spawn back here, and then when you're attacking B, you spawn up here. Now, it's not quite as forward of a movement that you get from Upward. Upward basically puts them, like, right up by the doors. But the main thing that I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to stop spawn camping and the ability for Red Team to stand in a spot and be able to shoot players as they appear. The way that Upward, it seems that Upward's first Blue Spawn was designed with the idea of moving players forward in the same building from the get-go. So it works a lot better than it does here in Midwest for me trying to retrofit this idea into this building, but I think it works well enough that it does help. It's a little bit farther forward than before with attacking A, so you're not completely all the way back at the beginning of the map when you're attacking B, but you are farther enough back that it gives Red time to set up and defend B a little bit better. B has been a bit of a choke point for this map. It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, trying to figure out a good balance for it, and so far it seems to be okay. Another reason why I wanted to do this is for engineers. Now, if a spawn is too close to a point, then engineers with teleporters, they have nothing to do. Nobody's going to use a teleporter if they can quickly walk within the same amount of time or within a short period of time to the objective themselves. So by pushing it back here, not only does it give Red a bit more help when it comes to defending B, so it doesn't roll quite so often, it also makes it so that Blue engineers have something to do. And I know there are people out there who specifically like to play engineer. Playing engineer on offense can be a little bit weird, not always beneficial to your team. But in order to give them something to do, something that they can help their team with, they now can build useful teleporters in order to get to point B. Moving forward, some of the stuff up here, I think maybe some of this cover's moved around, I'm not entirely sure, but I have changed around this building quite a bit. It used to be that you could get up inside this building and attack from these windows and then get up over here. A problem I was seeing with that was that Red was able to get up on top of these stairs and then completely block off this building and attack out the window over here, which was making a big choke problem. Kind of like how this is a big problem that I only just noticed and really need to fix. Anyway, I really don't want Red using this building at all, and trying to figure out how to move the building around to make things work better, I came to the idea, or to the conclusion, that this building is actually kind of a bit redundant. I pushed this platform out farther. I messed around with the idea of having a staircase going up here for red team. That was not a good idea. That is gone. But I pushed this platform out a bit further, and I changed this cover here. It used to be a rock prop, but the rock prop's collision mesh was not ideal, not reliable, not consistent, so I changed it to a fence and some props, and that seems to work better in stopping snipers and whatnot from doing things I don't want them to do. But the way that I changed all of this around, and I added this route down here that lets you go under the building and then pop out from over here, this little flank path, you really didn't need that upper area. All it was doing was spreading players out more than they needed to be, and it was giving red another area that they could hold, which I really didn't want them to do. So I closed off this entire area up here. I left it open enough so that if I decide to change my mind in the future and reopen this building, I don't have to do a whole crap ton of redo brushwork in order to do that. I basically just have to put lights in here and open the door. But that is the changes for that. Now this is a drop down over here, and while A does have a good bit of drop downs, this whole map has a lot of drop downs. I've been noticing with my design for blue, which is not always everybody's favorite, but you have a drop down over here and you have a drop down under here. The main reason for that is because I don't want red to use these paths, and trying to figure out how to make it so that red either can't use these paths or is very discouraged from using these paths has been a bit of a difficult thing to figure out. I did open up this building up here a while back so that blue could go up here and use it to try and flank around red's defenses, since they tend to like to build a sentry gun like right about here, possibly over here, or even back here a little bit. I moved this brick wall around a bit to try to open the area up a little bit more. And this was going okay, but it wasn't super great when it came for blue attacking, so I brought back the idea of a path that goes over here. Now, I tried this before, long before I put the blue forward spawn in, which used to be here and is now completely gone. So I've committed to the idea of not having a blue forward spawn, at least there, for now. But this path, while it lets blue flank, it also lets red come around over here. And I have seen them use this loft area and get around to this side for attacking blue. But it doesn't seem to happen quite as often as I was afraid that it was going to, which is why when I tried this idea of having a path through this building before, I made it a big drop down so that red was discouraged from using it and blah, 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 blah. But the problem with doing that made it so that blue going through this area got way too much for free. This whole flank was basically free for blue team for getting around behind red team, since red couldn't get up to the area to push them out of the building as easily. I mean, you could explosive jump up there, but you're going to take some damage doing that. So, by having this flank as a normal walking area, and by having a health and ammo pack back here, it helps anybody who's pushing through there. They push through the building, grab the health and ammo pack, and move into attacking red. Or red defending this area, they can fall back onto the health and ammo and work on trying to push blue out of this building in order to defend A. Red still has a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to height a little bit here with this ramp. It's not too much, and so far it seems to have evened itself out pretty well. So I'm fairly happy with it. I am very happy with how A has shaped up at the moment. I got rid of the little upper building you could get on up here because red was using it to rocket jump up onto that and then just get some free high ground. Didn't want that. It's gone. I put this tank up here so you can get a little bit of high ground up there, but it's not anywhere near as much. I put a dump truck here so that you've got a little bit more cover. Move these pallets around to make it a bit easier to clip them so you can just walk up to there. If you're attacking, get some high ground on anybody who might be coming out of this doorway, and I've raised this doorway so that it's not quite as much of a tight space when you're coming out of here. I also pushed back this thing, these hoppers and whatnot, so that there's a bit more room when the cart goes around and when players go around pushing the cart so nothing gets stuck. Now, I was a bit worried about this dump truck being here because the collision mesh for the stock dump trucks is a bit of a mess. It has like an angled brush that goes from here to there instead of actually following the model. I asked Zeus 3005 if he would be willing to make an improved collision mesh, and he did. So that is what we're using now. Unfortunately, the improved collision mesh is only for the filled dump truck, as you can see if I go through this displacement, so I had to figure out how to cover that over with a grain texture so that it makes a bit of sense, but I think it turns out pretty well. And it makes sense that there's a truck here because there's plenty of ways for the truck to have gotten here. It could have easily gone in through this gate, driven around over here, and done some fancy parking to get into there. I'm pretty sure that that's not too ridiculous of a space that you could get a truck into. I have a pet peeve when it comes to mapping, and that is when people put vehicles in a map without thinking of how in the world that vehicle could get there. Is there a gate or some sort of path that they could have used to drive to that area? Could you realistically park a vehicle in that spot? This one might be pushing it a little bit. You might have to do quite a bit of fancifulness in order to park a truck right there. But I think it's believable enough that most people won't think about it. Or at least I don't think about it when I'm going through this area. And like I said before, I have a bit of a pet peeve, a bit of a stickler for vehicles actually having ways to get to where they are. Because when they don't, it looks weird. If you put a vehicle in a courtyard without a door frame anywhere nearby for it to have driven through that's large enough for it to go through, then you wonder, how did that get here? Did they dismantle it, move it, and put it back together in the spot it was at, or did they build the building around it? Build the buildings around it, or whatnot. So, yeah, I think it's believable enough moving forward. In here, I used to have some health and ammo in here. Got rid of that because it felt like it was giving Red a little bit too much for health and ammo. I do still have this ammo pack up here. I was playing around with this being a full ammo pack, but now it is only a medium, so that Red can come up here and use that for defending. And I made it so that instead of this door being locked, this door back here is locked, specifically to try to help Blue with flanking. Because by having this, you now have this little spy route that a spy can go through here, go through the one-way door that you can still only open from this side, go around and get behind Red and do their spy stuff. So it's a bit of a flank route. You have options. You have this route down here. You can flank through here, flank through there. You can go over this way, shoot things from over here, shoot things from over here, kind of lob pills or demo man grenades, sticky bombs over this wall, go up here, shoot from up here, go down here, shoot from over here, and then of course for defending you have this whole area. You've got this up here for defending, building a sentry. People like to build sentries here, people like to build sentries here. Haven't seen sentries here too much because it doesn't exactly cover the point, but it's not a terrible place to put them. I've seen some sentries over here, so you get a little bit of cover from this brick wall. Red seems to do a decent job with defending this point, and Blue seems to do a decent job with attacking this point. The only thing that I'm a little bit disheartened about is that the point, from just looking at it, it doesn't look as interesting as other A points, like Upward. When you look at Upward's A point and think how people play that, it seems a bit more interesting that like engineers and such have more options. You still have a good amount of options with this one, but it doesn't look like it right off the bat. You kind of have to figure them out for yourselves. Nothing seems to be overly obvious for attackers or defenders, which is fine. It's a little bit iffy when it comes to testing because you test one version. If nobody's played this map before, this map with this point like this, then they don't always know what to do, but that's kind of how it goes with testing in general. Moving on. I don't think I changed anything else in this building. I did move this door frame. This door frame used to be like here. I pushed it over farther so that Blue gets more inside cover. And I opened the doorway a bit more so it's less of a choke when you're going out of this way with the payload. Changed around some of this over here, detailing-wise. Used to have a building that was over here, got rid of it because people were standing on it and shooting through this window. Now that the locked door has been pushed back, didn't want that, so it is gone. Did I change anything over here? I think I made this drop down a little bit farther. Yeah, a little bit. And still have that there. Everything else over here is pretty much the same. I opened up these windows so you can shoot through them. So red can use it to attack blue, or blue can use it to go this way, go around and attack red defenders who are trying to hold that door. This upper platform has been a problem for a while because red likes to hold it, and I don't want red to hold it. I want this to be blue's area, but then sometimes blue gets a little bit too much high ground for attacking B. So trying to find a good middle ground for this where you've got enough cover and red doesn't hold it too much has been difficult. But I think I finally found a good middle ground for it. Detailing-wise, it looks alright. This silo pipe thing is a little bit weird, but, I think it works. It's designed after the ones on Swiftwater, and if Swiftwater can get away with it, why can't I? I think it works. This has changed quite a bit. This used to be all outside. You could go outside, down a little bit, outside over here, but that was giving red a little bit too much ease of high ground here and making some odd and annoying sniper sightlines. So I made this a building, so you now have to go inside in order to get up top. You can still get up here if you're sneaky enough. You jump on top of the locker door handles there and then jump over this to get up here, but it's still mostly used for blue for attacking. This spawn has not changed. I like it how it is and it works, so it's fine. This over here has changed a lot to try to streamline where players are going. You used to be able to go like all the way back here and pop out this side. Instead, now this door opens after A is captured. Or does it open after B is captured? I believe it opens after A is captured, so that blue can use this as a bit of a flanking. They can come up here, go this way, hop down, go through here, and red does a pretty good job defending this building and defending this area over here. Now that they have a little bit less of high ground because you don't have this spot. This is a bit more of a useful sentry spot because you have this door you can use for blocking, and this is the normal sentry spot over here that works well enough for defending B. B does sometimes still end up being a bit much of a choke, but I think it's balanced decently well and teams have a good amount of options. I've really wanted to make a left flank option for B, a left side flank option, but the problem with that is how the track's laid out. If I make any kind of left route here, you bypass all of this, and it just becomes way too easy. So I wasn't able to figure out how in the world to do a route through there that wouldn't bypass all that track and all the defending areas red is at. So I did the best that I could to try to give blue more options and better, like you have a little bit of high ground up here. Heavy can use this thing for some, or anybody can use this thing for a bit of cover. They're coming up this side, and it's a lot farther left than it used to be. This whole platform used to stick out to like here, and now it only sticks out to there. So far, it seems to be playing okay. It's not as good as it possibly could be, but it's about the best that I can think to do with it, at least right now. I re-added this long path around here. I had gotten rid of that a while ago. It made it so the track went through this gate, but I was noticing that the problem is that C falls really easily when I did that because red doesn't have time to set up at C with how short that track was. So I re-added this route all the way around, and now since blue, when B is captured, they start spawning in here. This is a trade spawn. Red starts pointing this way, and then blue ends up pointing this way. I still have the gate, and the gate opens when the cart gets around to this area, so that they can use this path to bypass having to go all the way around this after the cart gets over here, and they're pushing forward into C. C has changed quite a bit. I've moved around things a lot, trying to figure out what to do with C, to make it defendable, and it actually is now, which I'm very happy with. I moved this thing over here, so you have a pathway this way instead of having to go upstairs outside. You now get a bit of cover going upstairs, around, and over here. You have all this open area to attack with over here. You have this area for sentries and stuff over here. And while blue can use this spot is kind of open for blue attacking. I also added this route down here so they can still get all of this cover, come around this side, drop down here. Another drop down, I know. And then pop out going this way. I was thinking about maybe putting a staircase in here, but then I really don't want red to be going all the way around to this spot and getting behind blue, so I haven't done that yet. I haven't messed around with that yet, and probably won't. I did make it so that after C is captured, blue spawn changes to this room. Now, all the way over here is red spawn for B, which is pretty close to B, but I've evened it out, or at least been trying to even it out with spawn times. Spawn times changing to make it so that red has to wait longer, but they have a closer spawn to B. It used to be way back on the whatnot that this was also a trade spawn and it would become blues, and then blue would go this way, but that didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. Then I had blue sort of spawning down here, but that gave them too much of a disadvantage. So instead, now they spawn up here after C is captured. When B is captured, they spawn over there. When C is captured, they spawn up here, and then they can use that to attack D. They can go this side. They can go out this door, which also lets them go around to that lower path over there, or pop out from over here. If they go out this side, they can then go through this gate, which gives them a good amount of options to stop spawn camping, which was something that was happening when I had the spawn room just down here. And I also don't have to worry about cramming things into such small space by having it up here, because I'm able to use this building a little bit more by having they actually spawn up here, go down, and then go forward. Bathrooms. Moving forward, D. Now, something that is really big that I added to D is I added a doorway. I needed to somehow give red more time to build up their defenses at D, but I didn't have a lot of track to work with. Once you get C, you go a little bit forward, and then you're already into D, and then you go forward right there. So I added these double doors. This door opens first, and then when it gets to like right about here, this door starts opening. Takes a little bit of time. Once the cart hits the switch, those doors start to open, siren goes off, lights go off, so you know what's happening. Everybody's like, oh, hey, there's a thing. I believe this model is an edited version of the Manhattan doors made by Crazy Zark. And this seems to work out well enough for allowing me to not have to redesign all of this area to add more track length, and instead just put those doors there, give red some time to build up, and then blue can push their way forward with their multitude of options to go into here. The options are, you can go up these stairs, go in here, a little bit convoluted, but it works. Go down this way, take a left to pop out into the main room, take a right to go around this way. This door actually shuts after C is captured, so red can use this path to go out and around and up and over to defend C, but then when C is captured, it shuts, and it makes it a safe route for blue to go around behind with this flank to pop out over here. Or they could use this side. You go this way, do this little prop jump just to slow you down a little bit, because this is the shortest path to get into D. So I had to do something to make it so it wasn't extremely easy. Some people find prop jumps to be annoying. I understand that, but I didn't want it to be too easy, because not only is this path used for defending D, it's also used for defending C by red, and if it was too easy for blue to get up here, then it would just, C wouldn't be held at all. And C's actually being held now, which is something that hasn't happened for a long time. So I'm pretty good with that. Blue comes in here, you have your options. You can head down this way to pop out to the main room in the main cart path, or you can go around to this way, head downstairs to see what you can do over here, or head around this cover and pop out over here to the sentry area. Sentries tend to be built over here, and over there, in this spot in order to defend D. I'm a lot happier with how this has turned out than how it was before. It's not as overly complex as it used to be. It's not as convoluted as it used to be, and it seems to work, and people seem to be enjoying it. Changed around a little bit of the angle for the pit on this spot, not too much of a difference. Did a lot of lighting changes in here. I pushed red spawn. Red spawn used to be, there used to be a path here where you could go down, go through. These windows were back here. So there was a hallway. There was this hallway between point and spawn, then another hallway between point and spawn, and then red spawn. And the problem with that is that red spawned a bit too far away from point, so that if everybody died on point and the cart got to like right here, red couldn't really get far enough to the area before it was captured. So now they have less length to walk. They can now move quickly, get over here, right into a spot, get over here, right into a spot, or pop out this doorway. I moved this forward, moved it down, pop out this doorway, and get right into a spot over this way and over here. Snipers don't seem to be much of a problem on D, or a big problem. You can still snipe from all of these areas that you could snipe from before. You can still build sentries in all the areas you could build sentries from before. But red has more options, blue has more options, and I'm fairly happy with D. I'm fairly happy with this entire map. I really feel that this map is almost done. Right now, I'm doing multiple tests on tf2maps.net for their gameplay tests, their impromptu tests that they do, or imps as they like to call them. And I'm putting this map through its paces so that all I have to do is address the feedback, for like a big bulk amount of feedback from 5 or so play tests, and then possibly call the thing done. I've been working on this map for like 2 years. I would like it to be done now. I got other ideas and other projects I wanted to start, but I don't want to do them until this map is done, because I don't want to have to spread myself out from that many projects. And it's getting there. It's getting there. I've said this before. I've said it's getting there before, and then it wasn't, because I was starting to get some competitive player feedback. But I haven't really gotten the competitive player feedback in a while. I don't know what's going on with those people. They're trying to organize themselves better, and I don't think I'm going to wait to get more competitive feedback. I think I'm going to try. I mean, I wanted this map to be a good middle ground between competitive and casual. I bounced it toward competitive, which unfortunately made it roll in casual. Now I had to balance it back for casual so that red can defend a bit better. Competitive doesn't like long holdouts. They don't like when it goes to time necessarily for the map being over, since they work in a stopwatch mode, which is whoever beats the map the quickest wins. So they like their payload map, specifically for Highlander, to play quick and play fast, and they don't like long holds. But casual likes long holds. Casual has a lot of long holds, and casual doesn't like getting, or casual doesn't like, how do I want to phrase this? Casual doesn't really like quick rounds where blue pushes all the way through and red can't defend. So casual needs to be a bit more red-sided. Competitive needs to be a bit more blue-sided. Trying to find a good middle ground between that. I think I've done it. Competitive players don't like things like the slow opening doors, but, you know, you're just going to deal with it, because it's there, and I'm not getting rid of it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm megapieman. You can check out my main channel over at youtube.com/megapiemanphd, where I do game reviews and other things. You can check out the other look at my map log videos I have on this channel, and I will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.